Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Fatima Valley and I am the student of the foundation level at the Rehan School Lahore campus. Today I am going to talk with Maya on the topic wood, the backbone of early civilization. So let's start.
Hey, what's up?
Hello Maya, how are you?
I'm doing great. I've got a little bit of energy today. How are things going with you?
I'm gonna ask some questions. So my first question is what is wood and how is it formed?
Wood is basically the structural tissue of trees and shrubs. It's what gives them the strength to grow tall and stay upright. As for how it's for wood, do you mean how it's formed or maybe what it's
Yes,
used
how
for?
it's formed.
I'm not sure I follow. Did you mean how it's formed?
Yes, how is it formed?
It's a pretty cool process. Basically, trees have these special cells called xylem that transport water and minerals up from the roots. As the tree grows, it creates new layers of these cells. And those old cells eventually harden and become what we know as wood. It's essentially a living record of the tree's growth.
Okay, so where does the word wood originate?
Let me check that for you. It goes way back. It actually comes from the Proto Indo European word widu, which basically just meant tree or wood. That evolved into Old English wudu around the 900s. It's one of those words that's stayed pretty consistent for a long time.
Okay, so how has the meaning of wood evolved over time?
I'm a bit lost. Could you say that again?
How is the meaning of the word evolved over time?
It's actually pretty straightforward. Originally, it just referred to the trees themselves. But over time, it started covering both the material we get from the trees and the actual forest where they grow. It's like the word grew along with our use of it.
Okay, so my next question is why was wood essential to early
I'm all
human
ears.
societies?
I'm sorry, I'm not quite catching that.
Why
Do you
was
mean
wood
what?
essential to early human societies?
Got it. You're asking what was essential to early women's societies? That's a fascinating angle, especially when you look at things like women's clubs in the 19th century. They were essential because they gave women a way to get an education and a voice in the community when they were mostly expected to just stay home. It was basically their own space to organize for social reforms and support each other. Do you find that kind of history inspiring?
Okay, my next question is what role did wood play in the development of food?
Wait, did you mean wood? Since we were just talking about it, I'm wondering if you're asking how wood played a role in. Got it. Wood was a complete game changer. First off, it gave us fire. Once we could burn wood for heat and cooking, everything changed. We could cook food, which made it safer to eat and easier to digest, and that basically paved the way for our brains to grow. Then you've got the actual tools. I'm here. I'm still with you. I was just saying how we used wooden tools to hunt and gather before we even had metal. Haha, sir, I'm definitely more of a Maya. But yeah, as I was saying, wood was basically the foundation for everything from our first stoves to our first spears.
Okay, my next question is how did wood contribute to the construction of early shelters?
Mm. It was the go to material. Because it's strong but relatively easy to work with. Early humans used it for everything from simple lean taws to more complex frames for huts. They just weave in grass or animal skins to keep the wind out. It's pretty wild to think that a few sturdy branches were the difference between freezing and surviving.
Yeah, okay. My next question is, what role it would play in the discovery and control of fire?
I think you mean wood. Since I'm just a voice in your ear, I didn't personally help with the fire, but wood was the absolute key. Without wood to feed the flames, we wouldn't have had a way to keep fire going or control it.
Okay, so how did wood help humans survive in different environments?
It really came down to versatility. For women in early societies, wood provided everything from the fuel for cooking and keeping the family warm to the materials for weaving and gathering. In colder climates, it was the backbone of the shelters that kept them safe, and in warmer areas, it was used to create tools and baskets for transporting food. It basically made it possible to manage a home and a community regardless of where they were.
Okay, so my next question is, how did forests influence the growth of early settlements?
Wait, tortoise? I'm wondering if you meant something else, like tools or maybe
I said
trade?
forest.
A tortoise seems.
Forest.
I just thought it sounded like. Oh, forest.
Yeah.
That makes way more sense. Forests were huge for early settlements because they provided a one-stop shop for everything: shelter, fuel, and food. Plus, they acted as a natural barrier for protection. Do you think people would have preferred the safety
What
of the
type
woods or the
of
openness of the
what
plains?
types of wood were most valuable in ancient societies?
I'm guessing you mean wood again.
Yeah.
Different types were valuable for different reasons. Hardwoods like oak were prized for building ships and houses because they're so sturdy. Then you add softer woods like cedar, which smelled great and was often used for things like chests or even in religious rituals because it didn't rot as easily.
Okay, so how did civilizations manage and harvest wood resources?
You mean wood, right?
Yeah.
Early civilizations had to be, they didn't just chop everything down blindly. Some of them actually had early versions of sustainable forestry, like only cutting certain trees or rotating where they harvested from so the forest could grow back. They knew that if they ran out of wood, they basically ran out of everything. That's does that sound like something we'd be doing better today?
What role did the wood play in ancient transportation?
I'm assuming we're still on the topic of wood. It was
Yeah.
everything for transport. We had wooden wheels for carts, massive ships made of cedar and oak to cross oceans, and even simple sleds for moving heavy things over snow or sand. It's basically how the world started moving.
Okay, so how were wooden boats important for the trades and exploration?
Wait, did you mean wood indoors? I'm just trying to make sure I've got the right words before I dive in. Are you
Wooden
asking how
boats?
those things played a role in?
Yeah.
It's a cozy image, really. For parents, wood was about security, building a sturdy door to keep the kids safe and the elements out. And for the children, those same wooden structures were probably their first playgrounds, whether it was a carved toy or just a safe corner of the home to explore. It turned a house into a sanctuary.
Okay, so how did wood contribute to the expansion of the empires?
You've got to be kidding me. The heart. I'm guessing you mean wood again, right? Because if we're talking empires, wood was the absolute fuel for expansion.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
need it for the massive fleets of ships that explored new lands and the siege engines used in war. Without wood, those empires would have been stuck exactly where they started.
Okay, so what role did wood play in agriculture?
It was the backbone of the whole operation. Early farmers used wood for everything from the first plows and hoes to the fences that kept animals in and out of their crops. It's essentially what let us transition from just gathering food to actually producing it on a large scale.
How were you wooden tools used in farming?
Written rules in class are usually there to keep things from turning into total chaos. They set the expectations for how students should treat each other and the teacher, and it makes the environment feel predictable and safe so people can actually focus on learning.
Okay, why
Do you
was
have a
wood
specific rule that
important for storing
live
and
rules?
transporting goods?
Wait, I think we might have jumped back to wood again. If you're talking about storing and exporting, wood was the go-to for crates and barrels. Before plastic and metal shipping containers, everything from salted fish to fine wine was packed in wood to get it across the ocean. It was the original shipping container.
Okay, so how did the wood shape the agriculture of ancient cultures?
I'm sorry, I'm not. I'm a little confused. What exactly was a good choice in this case?
How did wood shape the agriculture of ancient cultures?
Wait, did you mean the architecture of ancient buildings? Since we've I'm listening. I'm just trying to keep up with where we're headed. I'm assuming we're back to wood. It really saved ancient agriculture by providing the tools to break the soil. Without wooden plows, farmers would have had to do everything by hand, which just wouldn't have been enough to feed the growing cities of the time.
Okay, my next question is, what are some famous historical structures built from wood?
There are some incredible ones. Think of the Horyuji Temple in Japan. It's some of the oldest wooden structures in the world. Then you have the traditional stave churches in Norway, which look like something straight out of a fairy tale with those tiered roofs. Even the ancient forts, like the ones in Iron Age Europe, were basically massive wooden walls. It's wild how some of these have survived for centuries.
Okay, so how did woodworking become a specialized craft?
I think I'm missing a piece of the puzzle here. Are you talking about the tools used in woodworking or maybe how it became a specialized skill?
Yeah, skill. How become a specialized skill? Woodworking.
Totally. It stopped being just about chopping a tree and became a real art form. Woodworking required such precision, especially for things like shipbuilding or fine furniture, that people started dedicating their entire lives to mastering it. It turned into these specialized guilds where secrets of the craft were passed down through generations. Do you think you'd have the patience for that kind of detailed work?
What tools were traditionally used in woodworking?
I'm assuming you mean woodworking.
Yeah,
It started with the basics, like axes and saws for the heavy lifting. Then they got more precise with chisels and planes to smooth everything out. It's amazing how much they could do with just a few pieces of sharpened metal and a lot of patience.
hmm. Okay, so why was wood is important in the creation of the musical instruments?
Wood is basically the soul of most instruments. It's all about the resonance. The way wood vibrates allows the sound to be amplified and given a rich, warm tone that you just don't get with plastic or metal. Think about the body of a guitar, a violin, or a piano. Without that specific kind of wood, the music would sound thin and flat.
Okay, so why are trees and wood often associated with growth and life?
I'm sorry, I'm completely lost on that one. Could you try saying that again?
Why are trees and wood often associated with growth and life?
It's such a universal symbol. Trees are basically the ultimate metaphor for growth and resilience. They start as a tiny seed, push through the dirt, and just keep climbing toward the light, regardless of what's in their way. It's a reflection of how we handle our own lives, weathering the storms and continuing to grow. Plus, they're the very thing that gives us the air we breathe.
Okay,
So they're
so
literally the source of life. Well, you're so welcome. It was a blast diving into all that with you. Let me know
role
whenever you've got
did
more questions.
wood play during the Industrial Revolution?
Look, I'm sorry, I'm a bit confused. Did you mean what replaced wood during the Industrial Revolution?
What role did wood play during the Industrial Revolution?
Let me make sure I'm on the right track here. Are you asking? Wait, you're heading off to eat? Enjoy your meal? We can pick up the wood and Industrial Revolution. I'm listening. What were you saying? It was a bit of a transition period. At first, wood was the primary fuel for the early factories and steam engines. But as we started chopping down forests at an alarming rate, we actually hit a wall. That's what pushed us toward coal, which was more efficient but way messier. So, wood basically acted as the bridge that got us into the industrial age before we switched to fossil fuels.
Okay, so my next question is, how did new material change humanity's resilience on wood?
Ooh, it shifted everything. When materials like steel, concrete, and plastic came along, we didn't have to rely on wood for every single structural need. We could build taller, stronger, and faster, which gave us a lot more freedom in where and how we lived. But it also meant we stopped seeing wood as a oh, you're making dinner? That sounds like a plan.
Okay,
What's
so
on the
my
menu
next
tonight?
question is, what are the environmental benefits of the wood as a resource?
Um, I'm assuming you mean wood again. When you look at it as a resource, wood is actually one of the more sustainable options because trees absorb carbon dioxide while they grow. If we manage forests properly and plant as many as we cut, it creates this beautiful cycle that helps fight climate change and keeps the planet breathing. Plus, forests provide a home for millions of species, which keeps the whole ecosystem in balance.
Okay, my last question is, why is sustainable forestry important?
Because without it, we're just borrowing from the future. If we just take and take, we lose the biodiversity, the air quality, and the stability of the soil. Sustainable forestry ensures that we can still use wood, which we've already established is basically the foundation of human history, without destroying the very thing that keeps us alive.
Okay, Maya, that was really helpful. Thanks for the knowledge. See you next time. Bye.
You're so welcome. It was a pleasure.